Hey, very good afternoon and welcome to another Blackpool Pleasure Beach Resort Park update today. We're going to be starting not with the demolition works, we're starting inside the park for a change, and in the former site of the Grand Prix Helix area, which has been transformed over the past month to two into this nice lovely green space with the fountain still intact, and of course the trees that were always here when the Grand Prix did circle this area. Of course, towards the start of June we start to see a lot of grass starting to grow through here. We start to see the gardening team and park rangers putting more grass seeds down and things like that, new topsoil to get the grass growing like it is now, that you can clearly see, can't you? It's coming through really well at the minute. And then we start to see some little pathways being cut out around the fountain, and yep, they're all going into place right about now. And during last week when I didn't do a park update because there wasn't really that much to really inform on, they had started cutting out these sort of trenches, these sort of holes on the side of the grassways here, which I thought maybe for fencing, maybe for lighting, but no, it's going to be these sort of green archways leading in to the pathway. So we've got about 5 or so of them here on the pathway that would run at the bottom of them stairs underneath the monorail, run parallel with Avalanche, that you can see there. And then we've got just one over there at the minute by the glass bridge leading into the sensory garden, and I will pan over there and go over there later on, but we do have one just over there towards Big Dipper's exit and Icon's fast pass. I'm not too sure if it is here, but it looks like they are starting to put some sort of like stepping stones around the fountain now. You sort of see some square concrete blocks there just around the fountain, but we'll go down there shortly and have a look around there as well. But yeah, they have done significant work here since the last update here from the gardens area. It's all coming together. I would imagine the final steps is going to be the actual proper flooring that's going to be here. We can see there's lots of equipment down here, like there's bags of concrete, well, stuff to make the concrete. Of course, we've got big yellow bags as well. They've got a load of stones. We need to put more stones down on the pathways as well. And actually in these pallets at the end up here, might as well come up here and show you, we have actually got those massive square stepping stones and stuff. So you can see in that one over there, they are actual stepping stones, so you can see. So yeah, it's all starting to come together here from the gardens. You can see in that one, it's like sand and rocks to help make the concrete and the cement. So yeah, it's all good. And there's a shot there at the archways leading down to the fountain. It's going to be a nice area. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be a lot nicer than what it was when it was the Grand Prix. But let's hope, as we all keep saying, that whatever they're putting here and all these little bits that they are installing isn't going to affect a ride if they do put one here in the future. So yeah, we're just going to go down toward the Icon Fastpass entrance and have a view from that entrance and see what we can see from that side. But from this angle, it looks pretty good. So we're having a look then at the gardens area from the Big Dipper and Icon entrance, and there is another archway you can see here for the entrance to the new pathways. And as I said, just you can see one on the far side there by Avalanche and the Sensory Garden. And we have lots of equipment down here, like we have rocks, we have soil and sand all down here to help make the cement, because like I've just showed in the previous clip on the pallets that you can see way up there by them archways, they are in fact putting stepping stones down here on the ground. So you can see a load that have already been installed here with this one archway currently, and then at the minute they pan around to the left of the fountain all the way around to sort of where that red machine is just there as well. But imagine obviously they're going to continue all the way around the fountain and then up the other two pathways. But for now, this past week the gardening team and the park rangers have done quite a good job getting what they have done so far. And you can see here that they've kind of put like a final sort of edge line in as well. So when it comes to fully filling it all in with either more gravel or cement, it'll look pretty neat when it's all done and nice and smart. So yeah, not too sure when it's going to be open. Maybe, as I keep saying, towards the start of the 6 weeks holidays when the British summer kids do break up. So it's in a few weeks time, towards the end of July, I think it is, start of August, sometime like that, when the UK 6 week holidays start. I'm pretty sure Scotland are already off. But yeah, there's still a lot of work to do here, mainly just finishing off the pathways. But of course I'll be showing you more over a few weeks until it's completed. But this is your look as of the 11th of July today. This is how it's looking down here at the former Grand Prix, the new gardens area. New stepping stones and a few green archways currently going in at the far minute. Not too sure what the green archways will have them. Maybe they're going to sort of hang like lights on them, or hanging flower baskets, stuff like that, just to make the area just a little bit more sort of like pretty as such, because they did put obviously more flower pots, you can see there underneath the bridge. So they have put more flowers in, so maybe these are going to be for like hanging baskets or lights, not too sure, or just going to be sort of like just decorations in the area. But yeah, I'm going to move on to the next project now, which is quite an interesting one, because it's going to be Skyforce. So you may be wondering why we've come to Skyforce today, because of course the ride is closed throughout this year and potentially being removed, only a rumour, in the future. So why are we still here when obviously there's nothing that has really significantly changed? You're wondering. Well, something has changed and something big is happening to Skyforce. If we look over there, we can see they've actually started to rebuild it. So we actually have the backs of the planes on, so all the tails are back on, and we actually have the seats on as well. All the seats are on, and as we look towards the back of the structure as well, we can see some of the restraints are now back on as well. There's no wings or anything yet back on the ride. They're all underneath this blue cover that you can see just here. But yeah, very interesting how all the seats and some of the restraints have now been put back onto the actual ride structure as well. I mean, we've got no signs or anything in this entrance archway, and it's still fenced off here, and there's nothing really changed. Just waiting for Icon to go past. Off it goes. So yeah, we've had no real changes happening around the infrastructure of the ride. Like, nothing really happened with the queue line or anything. As I say, the signage isn't back. Doesn't seem to be any changes happening on the inside of the queue there. But of course, it's very hard to see due to the reflectiveness from the glass on the doors. But yeah, the main changes are happening with the structure over there. So I'll just head on to the other side of the former Skyforce shop and have a look at the old disabled entrance to get a really crystal clear view. So now on the other side of the Skyforce shop, here in the disabled queue line, the entrance for it. And there you go, you can clearly see they've been busy for the past week to 2 weeks, I imagine. I didn't really come round here last Friday, so I didn't really know if they had already started doing work on Skyforce. But yeah, it was only really the other day that I noticed that there was workmen here and they were actually doing stuff with the ride. I didn't actually realise they were actually putting it all back together. But as I said, from the other side of the shop, you can see sort of like the front seats here is only the seats on, but the remaining seats, you can clearly see the restraints are all back onto the structure. No wings, because like I said, underneath that blue tarp there, you can just see one peeking out on the top right there. But yeah, no wings are back, just the seats, some restraints, and all the backs are on the planes as well. Does this mean then that the ride is coming back later this year or potentially next year? Or have they rebuilt it in the same way that the carousel was quickly rebuilt to be showed off to a salesman and then obviously sold and removed from the park? So it's going to go two ways, this, or it could go a third way. Of course, we still have the Red Arrows planes dotted around the area of the ride. Of course, that one over there looking a bit worse aware. See all the paint coming off the wings. So maybe they couldn't operate it because, say, the Royal Air Force sponsorship, maybe that had expired and they had to wait for it to renew. That's why they couldn't sort of operate it. Maybe they're waiting for that. Or it's getting removed because it's been sold or being sold to a person, another theme park, amusement park. Or the third option, of course, it is coming back in one way or another. Could be getting rethemed, stuff like that. But yeah, it's interesting times here for the Skyforce attraction. Of course, we still don't know an official rumour from the park. All we know is that the ride is closed throughout the 2025 season. So is it going to be coming back next year in 2026, as I say, from that potential renew of the licence, the Red Arrows licence, stuff like that? Or is it being rebuilt in the same sense as the carousel, like I say, to then be sold off to another park somewhere across the UK or Europe, somewhere like that, because the carousel, as I said, was quickly rebuilt a few months ago, and then about a week after that it was removed because the person buying it was happy with the carousel, and of course that now goes on the travelling circuit with a funfair company, I believe. So yeah, no more carousel here. And is this going to be goodbye to Skyforce, or we're going to be back on there spinning around again? Only time will tell. Of course, once more of the attraction is rebuilt and put on, like more harnesses, wings and potential testing, I'll try my best to get some testing if that even happens. Because if the person wants to buy it, they may want to see if it's actually working and to see if it does actually run all right as well, and obviously give it a go spinning around. So yeah, interesting times with Skyforce, but as always with the other projects across the park, we'll be sure to keep an eye on this one, and it's very interesting to see what's happening with Skyforce, because in theory this would have been its 10th year operating, so it's not an old attraction. It came to the park back in 2015 and replaced Bling, which was here from 2004 up until the end of 2010 season. I think it was removed January 2011, correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but I do believe it went in January 2011. And yeah, the Bling sat on this site, and then it was replaced by a year or so after that by a high diving show, and then eventually Skyforce came in 2015. And yeah, over time it's lost its thrill factor. I mean, the wings don't go half as far as they used to. The wings used to go really far to get the plane spinning really fast, but that came at a price. Some people kept blacking out and getting really ill from it, so of course the park had to modify the wings so you can't spin the plane as fast and as violently. So yeah, as I keep saying, we'll keep a close eye on this one to see what happens over the next week, month, and of course if it stays until next year, happy days, it's another ride in the park. If it does get removed though, I'm sure it will be sold to a good park, a good people who will of course look after it. So that's your update here from Skyforce. Definitely an interesting one to look at. Right, so we're going to end this Pleasure Beach update normally where we start them, here in the tunnel, looking into the demolition site of the former Planet Rock and Bowl-a-Drome building, the home of the new Interman Gyro swing coming 2026, named Avictus. And as you can see, there's been some more demolition works since the last full update, with the removal of the 4 foundation poles that would hold up the old white dome, the old Planet Rock building. And it looks like it's just mainly just clearance work taking place now, getting it all shipped off into skips that you can see there on the far left in between the gaps. And we still have that final outer wall there of the Bowl-a-Drome. That's the only section of the building now remaining. And those cabins in the far distance, if they are to come down, they are still there as well. So yeah, we do have the digger on site there, just basically clearing up a lot of the stuff all over the ground. You can see it's looking a lot more tidy. There's not as much rubble like concrete and rebar and cable, stuff like that as well. And you can see far in the distance as well, they are starting to do a lot more actual ground construction and deconstruction as well, like getting the ground sort of probably prepared for when foundation works do commence as well. So yeah, it's very good to see a lot more changes happening here in the tunnel, and it's good to see changes also happening from inside the park as well. So you get a good clear view when you're in, say, the station for the Grand National. You get a good clear view out looking towards this area and the tunnel, and also especially good to say it most times when on top of the big one, you get an amazing view when you're flying past on there, and of course on top of Big Dipper and Infusion, top of them lift hills, you get a good aerial view down into the site as well. So yeah, this is your current look here from the 11th of July. A lot more clearance and tidying up works happening here in the site. I'll just pan over to the right hand side to have a look to see what there is more around the corner. So here's another look there, and just further right, just looking more of the site over to the left hand side where the car park is underneath Big One. Hopefully that will come back to actually be proper parking like it was before the demolition works happened, because it'd be good to actually park your car here underneath Big One again and look out at the massive intermittent gyro swing that will be here. I wouldn't imagine a reason for the parking not to come back, because all the infrastructure is obviously here. It's just, of course, how wide the actual ride will be, because it has the 4 columns holding it up with the swinging motion taking place as well. But yeah, the parking probably will come back. Keep it underneath big one, because you can tell with them supports it was retrofitted to house the parking there. And I don't think the ride will come out that far anyway, but it's unlike maybe queue line, stuff like that, I'm not too sure. But you can just see closer here as well, a lot more clearance has been taking place since the last update I did in here. Less rubble, less stuff all over the site as well, with that skip there holding a lot of all the demolition equipment and rubbish inside there. So that's going to probably do this week's update here from Pleasure Beach. Been an interesting one, showing the latest changes with the gardens where the former Grand Prix ride used to be. How you've got loads of stepping stones there, you've got more grass coming through, and of course we moved over to the Skyforce ride. How very interesting works are happening there, where they're starting to sort of rebuild the ride with seats, harnesses starting to be reapplied onto the structure, and then ending it here, of course, in the tunnel, looking at the Avictus site with demolition work still taking place and a lot more clearance work finally happening in the site to get it all prepared, ready for when foundation works and vertical construction does take place. So if you enjoyed this Pleasure Beach update, I'll of course be back in the future when stuff and changes do occur, so of course be sure to see them again in the future.